even though I'm not going to totally dismiss the whole Mike Hart emergency, that is absolutely a emotional change, right? And especially for that team. Mike Hart means a lot to that university. He's a means a lot to those players. Absolutely, they were impacted emotionally. But I'm not in the business of giving full passes because at the end of the day, these guys have a job to do, and that's to execute. And your coach, albeit a unexpected and scary situation, being carted off the field, you still know what plays to execute. You still put in the work throughout the week. There is no pass for you not executing because you're being distracted, right? Maybe a couple plays, I'll give you that, but not a totality. When you say full pass, it's like you're saying the whole game. I can't do that. These guys play big boy football. Big boy football. They're essentially professionals, right? We can't be giving out full passes. They have a job to do. So even though we have respect and we understand the seriousness of the situation, you still have to be a professional and find a way to block that out and do your job. That's just how it works. So I respect what you're saying. I can't go that far. I acknowledge it and I give a slight pass as during a certain point when it happened. But after a while, you gotta. And I'm sure Mike Hart. Look, we heard reports that he spoke to the team
At
during
halftime.
halftime.
Hmm.
I guarantee you, I can pretty much guarantee you, he didn't want to give the. He definitely didn't want them having to pass. He probably wanted them, knowing how Mike Hart was as a player, he wanted them to get their act together. So I understand what you're coming from, but we gotta be careful with that. Your thoughts?
Um, I think there's two sides of football. I think, and especially I think this is a good situation. I think, the situation like for example on Thursday with Tua, like that was an extremely scary situation.
Yeah,
So publicly, like yes, you want to make sure that you have the respect for the situations like you mentioned. Um, but the reality of especially pro football, and when you talk about football where these coaches are making millions of dollars, like at the end of the day, let's put it this way: in practice, and Dre, you may have been here even in high school. But if a guy
yeah,
gets hurt in practice, right? Let's say you're running team, first offense versus first defense, and a guy gets hurt, knee injury, and they're checking that guy out and taking a look to see what's going on. 9 times out of 10, the coach says, move the drill up 10 yards so we can keep practicing and let him get tended to by the trainer.
yeah.
Like that
Absolutely.
is football. That's what it is. Now, I'm not saying, and no one is saying that no one cares about the guy who got hurt. You definitely
That's not what
do,
I'm saying at
but
all.
football
Absolutely.
is a very compartmentalized sport. Like it's very different. And think about this too. Like I think we're looking at it a little different because it's a coach, but I mean, there of all of the games that are played every single week, there's probably one guy carted out on a stretcher at least once a week, right? Not each team, but just every Saturday. There's a guy who's
Yeah,
carted out. Whether it's a Jones today got carted out, right? Like that didn't did anyone give a pass because Jones went out? Like what
yeah.
people actually said and what you just said was the O line played even better once he was out. Like that's just that's what they have, the mentality that they have to have is
Do me a favor,
go ahead.
and I want you to finish that thought. I want you to finish that thought. But there's a comment, and I can see a lot of people after what we said are kind of still not understanding it. Um, by Malachi McKinney, gosh, who was it? He basically saying it's like these are 18, 22-year-old kids, and I want to,
Let me see if I can find it.
because
But go ahead, and go ahead and respond to what he's saying, and I'll see if I can grab it.
you guys use the word kids outside of the context of college football. Anywhere else, yeah, we're talking about 18, 22-year-old kids. When you're talking about Michigan high level college football, they're not kids. They're not. They don't get the attention of kids. They don't have the expectation of kids. They're not treated like kids. They are treated like professionals, which is why you're having such a which is why there for years it's been like this battle of these guys getting paid like professionals. because everybody else is get profiting off of their. So when I say that, you can't look at their age and take that in the same context as anybody else that's outside of that group. So you got to remove that. And once again, I said that it is a huge emotional change seeing a teammate, a coach have an emergency medical situation. No matter if it's a seizure, no matter if we've seen it, and it's so scary. We've seen guys get carted off because they can't feel or move on the football field, right? That is just as scary as anything else. When people can't move, they can't move their extremities. You guys heard about, remember Ricardo Lockett playing for Seattle?
Mm-hmm. Heck, Ryan Shazier.
Ryan
That was more
Shazier.
recent. Yeah.
But there are tons of really, really scary situations that go beyond just a torn ACL, right? So, and what we're saying is, you have to be able to, as much as it emotionally affects you, and it does, it affects everyone. And you do see a drop in change in play initially. But what you have to try to do as best you can is compartmentalize what happened and focus at the task at hand. That's not easy to do, and that's not being heartless. It's recognizing what your job is in the moment. We're talking about, and the reason why I brought it up was because D. Brown said he would get them a pass. If Michigan lost today, a lot of you will be given a pass. You may recognize what happened, but you wouldn't say, you know what, I don't care we lost to Indiana today because Mike Hart got sick and clearly the kids were affected by it. You'll still be upset. So that's what I'm trying to say. We recognize what happened, but we also got to continue to expect these guys to do their job. That's all I'm saying.